The War of 1812 is generally portrayed as an Anglo-American conflict, yet First Nations people, as we saw there, also played an important role. With their courage and legacy so often overlooked, Deana Sumanac has more on what's being done to persuade people to take a fresh look at history.
On Guam's, it means careful. Follow the stream.
As an opera singer, Anne Cooper-Gay had to learn to sing in Italian, German, and French. But as the conductor of a new children's opera about the War of 1812, she needed to learn another language, Ojibwe, if only because she had to teach it to her young singers and actors.
The bear. And what do we say? Mina Ade Makwa. And what does it mean?
Gentle as a bear.
The bear's gentle.
11-year-old Raven Grant is of Ojibwe background, but doesn't speak the language.
It was kind of hard because I don't speak any other languages besides French, and it was pretty new to me. Yeah.
This children's opera focuses on the heroine of the War of 1812, Laura Secord. But for its creators, it's also something else, an opportunity to tell their audiences about the First Nations' involvement in the war.
Tell me about how important it was for you to include children who are of actual Aboriginal background in this opera.
Major importance.
Appropriate, given the major role Native allies played in the outcome of the War of 1812. Many First Nations warriors joined the British and Canadians to defend the lands they lived on against an American invasion and that westward push for land. Some, like the Shawnee chief Tecumseh, had a bigger dream, to unify disparate peoples into a kind of a native confederacy, a separate country within North America.
There's no question that the role of Native warriors in the southwestern corner of Upper Canada, at Queenston Heights, and throughout the War of 1812 is absolutely critical. And the war, they were indispensable.
Indispensable, but often forgotten in the retelling of our country's history. Today, artists like those who created this War of 1812 inspired installation want to right that 200-year-old wrong. Inside each of these tents is a story of a single individual's experience of the war, and many artists chose to tell the stories of First Nations people.
One of the people that I chose to research was called Stayatha, also known as Roundhead.
For artist Serena Johnson, who is of Cree and Ojibwe background, it was a way to learn about her ancestors, as well as educate other Canadians.
People don't know. I didn't even know. And I think it's really important for people to realize that First Nations people were an equal partner in what was the beginning of the formation of this country.
Historian James Laxer says artists like Johnson are leading the way in how Canadians should remember the War of 1812 as a victory brought in significant part by contributions of First Nations people.
In the past, they've kind of had walk-on parts, but it's time to put the Native warriors and their cause right into the center of what this war means.
Tecumseh, the hero of Laxer's book, never got to see his dream of a confederacy of native lands realized. But he might draw some comfort from knowing his and his warriors' courage lives on, inspiring artists 200 years after his death. Deana Sumanac, CBC News, Toronto.